Hi, Angie here for mynexttablet.com. Today was an unboxing of the brand new Xiaomi Pad 6, including its keyboard and pen. Alright, let's start the unboxing of the Xiaomi Pad 6. You can buy it in China now, starting at $275, so very cheap. However, in general, you will only get this price when you're in China buying it in a Xiaomi store or so. If you're importing it, in general, you will have to pay a bit more. I had to pay 357 euros for the cheapest version, and I got it shipped to Germany. This is not a global tablet yet, so once the global version of the Xiaomi Pad 6 arrives, which we don't know when or even if it will, then I think it will be a little bit more expensive. For the Eurozone, I'm expecting at least 399 euros as the standard asking price. But yeah, we will see once the time comes. Now inside the box we get the tablet itself, of course, then a quick start guide, which is in Chinese, then a charger. Then we're getting a USB Type-C to Type-A cable, a standard one, and I also got the new keyboard cover, which looks very similar to the keyboard of the predecessor, but they are very sadly not interchangeable, so you cannot use the old cover with the new tablet. I also got the pen, and inside that box we get a tip. Then we get a quick start guide, again in Chinese, and of course the pen itself, which looks a little bit like the Apple Pencil 2. Now, since I shot the first part of this video, a couple of hours have passed already, and I installed a couple of apps and games and played with this tablet a bit, and now I can tell you a bit more about the Xiaomi Pad 6, and we're starting with the design. We're getting an 11-inch display here, which has quite slim black screen bezels around the screen. Unlike the predecessor, we don't get a webcam on the side anymore, but on the top, which is very good. It's 8 megapixels. We are getting an LCD screen, and on the back we're getting a full metal body, which is very nice. Now the Xiaomi Pad 5 Pro from last year or almost 2 years ago also had a metal back, but the standard Xiaomi Pad 5 did not. That one had a plastic back that looked a little bit like glass, but it's plastic. So Xiaomi did improve the design a bit, which I like, but you can still see that these are clearly Xiaomi tablets. Now on the back here we're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, a depth sensor, and an LED flash. Now if you're getting the Xiaomi Pad 6 Pro, this will be a 50 megapixel camera, and on the front will be a 20 megapixel camera. However, I don't think the Xiaomi Pad 6 Pro will be released globally. At least that wasn't the case with the Xiaomi Pad 5 Pro. That one was always only available in China. But I really hope the Pad 6 will be released globally. Now let's go around the tablet a bit. We've got a standard volume rocker over here, a microphone, then a little thing here which looks like a micro SD card slot, but sadly it does not have a micro SD card slot. Instead, it's used for connecting and charging the pen. We also don't get a SIM card slot, and there's not even an LTE version at the moment. We've got 2 speakers here and 2 speakers on this side, and the sound quality is surprisingly good. It's pretty much on a flagship level, so I like to see that. Then we're getting a USB Type-C port here, and it's USB Type-C 3.2, and you can connect an external monitor, which is also nice to see. Now when we go around the tablet, there is no headphone jack because Xiaomi wants us to be a flagship competitor, and flagships, as we know, don't have a headphone jack. And we also don't have a fingerprint scanner. This is a standard power button, but if you get the Pad 6 Pro, I believe that one will have a fingerprint scanner. Now you can unlock this tablet using facial recognition, but there's no extra sensor for it, so it's not very secure. And let's check out the optional keyboard cover that you can buy separately for it. It's a standard keyboard cover, looks a little bit to the folio type cover that you can buy for the iPad Pro series. It's not that popular, but you can get it for an iPad Pro as well. You connect it with these connectors here. You put it like this magnetically, and then you can stand it up like this. The keyboard is pretty good. It's a little bit bigger than last year, and there's no touchpad, but it's a pretty decent keyboard. And of course, if you fold it up, the screen and the back are protected. As a comparison, I can show you the keyboard cover from the Xiaomi Pad 5. It looks really similar, but the connectors are at completely different places, so they are really not interchangeable. That's really a disappointment, because why not make them compatible? Anyway, so much about the predecessor and the keyboard. Now let's check out the display of the Xiaomi Pad 6. We're getting an 11-inch LCD screen here, standard LCD IPS display with a very high resolution of 2880 by 1800 pixels. So really high resolution, and text and icons look nice and sharp. Another specialty about this screen is that it's a 144 Hz screen, which I don't think we've seen on a tablet before. Usually it's 120. So we can go to the settings to display here, and then to refresh rate, and there you can set it to 144 Hz. You can also select 90 Hz, which is a nice medium to save some battery, and if you want to save as much battery as possible, you can select the standard 60 Hz as well, and you can also have it to default, and then the tablet will decide when to use 60 Hz and when to use 144, but I like to have it on 144 at the beginning. That will mean that animations and so on look very smooth. Otherwise, this screen is fully laminated. It's quite bright. I believe it will be around 400 to 500 nits. It's really quite bright. I had to pull it down a bit to get a balance with the camera exposure and the studio light. So it's a nice and bright screen, and overall it should be a good LCD screen. Sadly, not an OLED panel like we get with Samsung or also with the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2. But you can use it to write on the screen with an active pen. We unboxed it already, and it's a pretty nice pen. It's made of plastic, it has a pressure sensitive tip, 2 buttons on the side which you can use to take a screenshot and to quickly start a new note. And the pen is quite precise. It's much more precise than the Lenovo Precision Pen 2, which I just tested with the Lenovo Tab P11 Gen 2, and the preciseness of this pen is on a similar level as the Samsung S Pen and Apple Pencil, which is really nice to see. But it's still not as good as Samsung or Apple, and that's mostly due to software. We only get a very simple Notes app here and 2 gestures to take a screenshot and start a new note, while Samsung and Apple give us much more features that makes the pen more useful, and those we don't get here. But of course, you can install note-taking apps and drawing apps out from the Google Play Store if you decide to install the Google Play Store. Now let's take a look at the internal hardware. Inside the Xiaomi Pad 6 sits a Qualcomm Snapdragon 870 chipset, and you can get versions with 8GB up to 12GB of RAM and 128GB up to 512GB of internal storage. And as I said, there's no LTE option. I've gotten the cheapest version, by the way. And if you get the Xiaomi Pad 6 Pro, that one will have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset, which is a little bit newer and a little bit faster. You can see my Geekbench 5 benchmark comparison here, which is very interesting because the processor performance is a little bit above the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 with the same chipset. However, the graphics performance of Samsung is a little bit better. And what's also very interesting is that the CPU performance is quite a bit better than the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2, which is also a cheaper flagship competitor, but the graphics performance of Lenovo is much, much better. And as you can see, the performance is quite a bit better than the Xiaomi Pad 5, and it's below the Apple iPad 10 because Apple chips continue to be much more powerful. And you can see my little gaming test here. I'm playing PUBG Mobile with the graphics settings set to Ultra HD. And it looks great, it's well playable, and overall this will be a nice gaming tablet. Yes, the 870 Snapdragon is not the newest chipset, but we get at least 8GB of RAM, and overall the performance will be fine to play most games with high graphics settings. So this, I'm pretty sure, will be a nice, relatively affordable gaming tablet. Now let's get to the software. On the Xiaomi Pad 6 runs Android 13. We can quickly confirm that in the settings. And there we go. It's Android. Where do we have Android 13? Here. We have Android 13. And what's really nice is that the Xiaomi Pad 5 got an update to Android 13 already, which is very important to know because back when I reviewed the Xiaomi Pad 5, we weren't sure if it will ever get an update or not. Now Xiaomi proved that they will give at least some updates to their tablets, so I'm hoping that the Xiaomi Pad 6 will also get at least one, if not two or three major version updates. Now on the Xiaomi Pad 6 and Android 13 runs MIUI, which is the own interface from Xiaomi, which customizes it a bit. To me, it looks a little bit more like iPadOS, but that's okay. It's not the most prettiest interface in my opinion, but it's fine and it does its job, so nothing much to complain here. So far, I couldn't encounter any bugs or so. But what I did encounter are these Chinese writings, because this is a tablet that's only being sold in China. There's no global ROM version, like no global operating system for the Xiaomi Pad 6 yet. So even though I've got it set to English, every now and then there are some Chinese characters. And usually when you buy the Pad 6, the Google Play Store will be missing. Now there are some shops that install the Google Play Store for you, sometimes even without you asking them. And that's obviously great, then you don't have to install it yourself. But you have to be a little bit careful, I would say, because obviously then you've got to trust that the shop does not install anything else besides just the Google Play Store. So it's up to you which you decide, which style you prefer. Now here the Google Play Store is pre-installed. Now if the Google Play Store is pre-installed, or once you installed it yourself, you can install YouTube, you can install games, Netflix and so on, except Chrome, at least not at the moment. I tried to install Chrome and it doesn't work. However, the Chrome beta does work just fine. So at the moment I'm using the Chrome beta. Now I had this error with Chrome in the Play Store before with some other Chinese tablet. I forgot which one. And after an update, I forgot if it's Chrome or the tablet, it did work. And actually I'm still expecting that I will be able to install standard Chrome on here. But at the moment that's not possible. And obviously I cannot promise that for the future, but I'm pretty sure that it will be possible. By the way, this tablet has a wideband level of L1, so you can watch Netflix and other streaming services in HD quality, which is nice to see because that's certainly not a standard with tablets that you import from China. Another thing is there are many apps from Xiaomi pre-installed, but after I'm done with this unboxing video, I will uninstall most of them and just install all the Google stuff because I'm a Google user and I'm not a Xiaomi user, and there's a Xiaomi browser and so on, Xiaomi email app, but I certainly won't be using that, and I'm guessing you won't be either. You can just install standard apps from the Google Play Store. Alright, my first impressions of the Xiaomi Pad 6 are pretty good. It's an interesting tablet, very affordable of course. I like the full metal body, the keyboard is pretty nice, the stylus works quite well. I like the screen, the 144Hz refresh rate is really nice to see. And overall, we get Android 13, probably updates in the future. And yeah, it makes a pretty good first impression. Sadly, no micro SD card slot, no LTE version, no GPS. But yeah, it seems to be quite a nice tablet for its price. Obviously, Samsung and Apple tablets do have some advantages, but the Xiaomi tablet is quite a bit cheaper, and I'm very excited for my final review. This is not a review, it's just an unboxing and my first impressions. If you want to see the review, subscribe to this channel. Alright, that's been my unboxing video and hands-on of the Xiaomi Pad 6. Now, if you're interested in an even cheaper tablet that has also a really nice value and actually also got a nice software update, then check out my review of this Xiaomi Redmi Pad, which is from the same company, but it is released globally.